Hello dear students. Today in this video let us discuss again a quite repetitively asked question, or rather I would say the concept, and the concept is on, as you can see on the screen, sickle cell anemia. Now, basics of this you all must be knowing. Today what we'll do is we'll discuss about the type of question they're asking and some of the basic concept related to this. The first and foremost thing you have to understand is, when we talk about sickle cell anemia, is the inheritance pattern, right? And that is going to be the autosomal recessive. Now, if you are lucky, you get a direct question on what is the inheritance pattern of the disease. You directly go for this answer, that is autosomal recessive. But the questioning does not seem always this easy, not always a 1 mark question, but rather many a times they ask question based on this diagram. Now this particular diagram is from your textbook, and a year back or maybe 2 years back in sample paper or somewhere I had seen that they had asked a question giving this diagram from your textbook, this one and the mutated one. So before we go further, let's discuss this and let's see how to answer the question that can be based on this diagram. So first thing is, you see on top is going to be the sequence of DNA. Okay, before we go into that, let us discuss some of the basics. Now what are the basics here? There's a problem with a single gene. Okay, because of this single gene mutation, this disease is also known as a Mendelian disease or Mendelian disorder. So there is a problem with a single gene. Why? Because there is a mutation in there. Okay, and what is the gene? Here it is the hemoglobin is getting affected. Which hemoglobin? Hemoglobin structure means we are going to have 4 globin chain. Okay, 4 globin chain are there, along with 4 heme groups are there. Structure you have learned in class 11th. Now when we talk about the 4 globin chain, they are organized themselves into 2 alpha chain and 2 beta chain. Okay, and here when we talk about the sickle cell anemia, there's a problem with this beta globin chain. So there is a mutation in the beta globin chain mutation, and that is why this particular disorder or disease, that is sickle cell anemia. Now when we talk about beta globin chain mutation, right, we have to understand that there will be some DNA or gene sequence which is basically responsible for production of the beta globin, and that is what we have written here, a relevant portion of that, HBA gene. So here the gene is going to be, let's say, HB, and there are alleles. Of course we have to discuss that also. What are the alleles? There are 2 alleles. One is going to be the HBA allele, and the other one is going to be called the HBS allele. Okay, now this is, let's say, the dominant allele, this is normal allele, and this one is going to be the sickle or basically mutated allele, right? So this one is the normal allele, and this particular HBS is going to be the mutated allele. Okay, so we'll come back to this when we talk about the inheritance pattern of this particular disease. How does sickle cell anemia gets inherited? So we'll talk about this autosomal recessive inheritance pattern, because that is again a question that they ask, 3 mark question that they ask many a time. So I'm coming back to this. So what we have here is a relevant portion of the sequence of DNA of the HBA gene. Now you all know that when we talk about the DNA, there are 2 strands, and the 2 strands are going to be having 1 strand of coding sequence and 1 strand which is going to contain the template DNA. So here also we are going to have the template DNA, and we are going to have the coding sequence or coding DNA, coding strand, we can say it. And you all know that the sequence of the coding DNA, coding strand DNA, the sequence of that and that of the mRNA is going to be same. The only difference is going to be, here you're going to have the presence of U instead of T. That's the only difference between the DNA and RNA, but otherwise the sequence will remain the same. And here we have the template DNA. Okay, template DNA. So this particular DNA sequence here, CTC, is going to give rise to the mRNA sequence containing GAG, which is basically the codon, right? So they'll act as a codon, and what do they code for? Here they code for the glutamine. Now glutamic acid. Now here we are going to have a total of, let's say, 7 amino acids which have been shown here. Valine, number 1, histidine, leucine, threonine, proline, glutamine or glutamic acid, and the glutamic acid again. Now here you are having all the 7 is going to be part of the normal hemoglobin peptide beta, actually beta globin chain, normal peptide. Now what happens is, as we have already discussed, that there is mutation, single gene mutation. So the mutation we already discussed, it is going to be happening in the beta globin chain. So there is a mutation in this particular DNA, and because of that the amino acid here is going to be altered. Now what is that? Let's see just quickly. I'm going to change this, or let me make a separate one now here. Quickly I'll make. Okay, so here we are going to have the same sequence. Let me write down first here. That is going to be the valine, histidine, leucine, threonine, proline, and something, and then glutamic acid. Now here you are going to be having a sequence of, let's say, G, T, G, and we're going to have the C, A, C. Okay, there is a mutation. So here this is going to be the HBS gene. Remember that the HBS means it is a mutated gene, and because of that you're going to get the mRNA sequences is going to be now GUG. So as you can see here, the GAG now has basically changed into GUG. Now why we are stressing on this? Because the sequence has changed, and in other words the codon has changed, and because of that, instead of coding for the glutamic acid, now it is going to code for another one called, another amino acid called valine. Okay, so there is a change, and that's the mutation we are going to see here. So instead of the regular glutamic acid, we are going to have the valine in the 6th position. If I just put the number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, so there is a change, there is a mutation on the 6th position. Instead of glutamic acid, you are going to have the valine. Now that's the thing you have to keep in mind. Yes, if you want to remember, you can remember all of this, and you should remember all of these things. But if you cannot remember all of this, at least remember what is at the 6th position. Now when they will give you one diagram out of these two, they'll give you the single diagram. Let me just put that one here. This is the mRNA. Yes. So as I was saying, if they'll give you one diagram and they'll ask you, identify whether this particular sequence, this particular diagram represents a normal beta globin chain or a mutated beta globin chain, or they will ask you whether an individual with this particular sequence is going to be a normal individual or an individual who is going to suffer from sickle cell anemia. What you have to do is you have to look for the 6th position of the beta globin chain of this particular given sequence. If it is not glutamic acid, and glutamic acid at 6th position, and obviously 7th also it is there, 6th position, if it is not glutamic acid and it is valine, very simple, you have to go for the mutated condition, and it is going to be the HBS polypeptide, and this is going to basically lead to a condition, to a sickle cell anemia condition. Now let us understand how it is getting inherited. It's not that if a person is going to have one of this HBS gene of the HBS allele, let's say, then he is going to suffer or she is going to suffer. That is not the case. Now let us understand how it is getting inherited from one individual or from one generation to the next generation. Otherwise, what I'm saying is, let's talk about the autosomal recessive condition and how it is getting passed on with the help of the genotypes. Okay, let's see that. Okay, let me have it here. So we all have spoken, we have been talking that there are two alleles, HBA and HBS. HBA happens to be the normal allele and HBS happens to be the mutated allele. So because of these two alleles, the possible genotype combinations, let's write down that one, is going to be HBA HBA, HBA, HBS, and HBS and HBS. So if we see here, this particular one, HBA, HBA is going to be a normal individual. Okay, now the HBS, because it is an recessive disorder, because the alleles or the gene is going to express itself in recessive manner, you all know it can express itself only in a homozygous recessive genotype condition, that is HBS. So only when you are going to have two mutated gene form, that is two alleles, only then you can have a sickle cell condition. The person will suffer from sickle cell anemia, or in other words, we can say this is the affected individual. Okay, now what about the heterozygous condition? So we are having a normal individual and we are going to have a affected individual when there is homozygous recessive condition in that manner. Now what about this? So here what is going to happen is, if an individual is going to be heterozygous, they are going to be carrier. Okay, they are not going to be suffering, but simply they are going to be the carrier. Now if they ask you the inheritance pattern, they will ask you a very simple question: what do you understand by sickle cell anemia, or what happens in sickle cell anemia, and explain the inheritance pattern with the help of a cross. 3 mark का question आएगा, तो आपको क्या करना है, first you put this one, okay, and after that let us put the pattern. So you start with a parent. Always you have to start with parent. So what parents are here, we'll take let's say the carrier male, and we'll also talk about, I think we have space, yes, we'll take carrier female. Okay, so carrier male and carrier female. So next is going to be, let's write down their genotype. So you all know, because it is going to be autosomal linked, right, for male and female the genotype remains the same. So here for this carrier male and carrier female, it is going to be both HBA, HBS, and here also it is going to be HBA, HBS. Now how we'll get the progeny? So let us write down the progeny. You can write down gametes here. If you don't write down that also, it is fine. So to get the gametes, you are going to have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 different alleles. So here you take one from here and the first one from here, and what you get? You get HBA, HBA. That is first outcome. Next, let's take the first one from the carrier male, first allele, and the second allele from carrier female. So now we get HBA and HBS. Now let's take the second allele from the male and the first allele from the female. So you get again HBA, sorry, and HBA, HBS. And finally, you take the last two, second and second from both, that is going to be HBS and HBS. Okay, so these are the different, what do you call, genotype that is possible from the from this particular parent when we are talking about the carrier. So you take the carrier example or the parent example and you get the progeny. So now once you do that, you have to write down basically the outcomes or what are the condition in them. So here when it is going to be HBA, HBA, it is going to be a normal individual. When it is HBA, HBS, as you can see in both of this case, these are going to be the carrier individuals. And when you are going to have the HBA, HBS, it is going to be the affected individual. Affected individual. So as you can see here, the chance of an affected individual is only 25%. Similarly, for that of the normal individual is also 25%. And for a carrier, it is going to be 50%. So this is a very simple representation and a very easy way to represent the inheritance pattern autosomal recessive for the sickle cell anemia. So these are the type of questions you can expect in the examination, and this is an easy way to remember and to write in the examination. So when you're asked inheritance pattern, dear students, first write the alleles. So these are our alleles. Okay, do mention that they are autosomal recessive inheritance pattern. Then write down the genotypes. I think the space, yes. Genotypes, and then write their phenotypes, and then write the parents, genotype, progeny, and the phenotype at the end. And with that, you will be done with the question. Thank you all for the video session.